Okay, so you kind of gave me the indication in your last text that you were busy and maybe had some catching up to do. So I'm going to keep this one a little shorter maybe and just kind of do a review of the diminished chord and talk about some things you can practice, just to build your technique because there's advantages to that too. Um, you know, so we'll talk about those sort of things today. So, in the context of the diminished chord, so what we're going to do is we're just going to start here with this little F chord here, which is starting on the D string, 3, 2, and then this little half bar, 3, 2, 1, 1. And once again, better if you can get that hand pushed out front so that this finger is bending like that, more like this rather than like that. You can do it the other way if you want, but then you get too much of a grip on the guitar and it's difficult to move the hand. So keeping the thumb on the back of the neck and getting that finger bent the right way. And what we're going to do is we're going to practice all of these as arpeggios. This way we're getting the most bang for the buck out of what we're doing here. So we'll just go ahead and play those 4 strings that we're touching. Now you can play them one of 2 ways or one of 3 ways or one of more than 3 ways if you want to work on your right hand. You can just pick all those notes down separately. You can alternate, down, up would be a good thing to do. You can do it all as rest strokes, that is to say basically drag the pick, 1, 2, 3, 4. You could pick them all up, 1, 2, 3, 4. So keep that in mind when you're practicing these exercises, that you can work on different things in the right hand, all of which will be beneficial to your technique and to your future playing. So after this F chord, we're going to go to the F sharp diminished. I'm going to assume you're somewhat familiar with this chord form now. And starting on the D string, we have 4, 5, 4, 5. And we'll do the same thing. We're just going to pick those. And once again, depending on what you want to work on, you can use any number of right hand techniques to do that. But actually think about which one you want to use and use it. Okay? So I'm going to go back to the first chord, the F. Second chord. And you want to practice those at a tempo that you can get a continuous rhythm without a break, like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now from there, we're going to go to a G minor chord. We're just going to bring that ring finger straight up from this diminished right to there and bring the first finger over into a half bar. Once again, I'm doing that finger bent back thing on the next 3 strings on the 3rd fret, and we'll pick those once again. Okay, so going back to the first chord, we have the F, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, another thing that I want you to notice is the just the way physically that on the guitar that this chord progression takes place. The lowest note is on the D string. We have the ring finger there on the 3rd fret. Then for the diminished chord, the lowest note moves up to the 4th fret. And then for the G minor chord, the lowest note moves up to the 5th fret. So I want you to make note of that. From here, bass note is down here, here, now it's moved up 1, and now it's moved up one again. Okay? And the reason I want you to notice that is if for some reason you find there's a little bit of strain on the hand playing it down here on the 1st fret, well then just move it up. You can start here on the 3rd fret and just follow the same pattern. The diminished chord is up 1 fret. Then the minor chord, we just bring the ring finger straight up and play the minor chord. Okay? So that's why it's important to kind of see what's happening there across the fretboard. Because if that's the case, if you make note of that, then you can really start from anywhere and play the exercise. So I'm going to start here now on the 5th fret. My ring finger is there on the 7th fret though. My first finger is on the 5th. My ring finger is on the 7th. Then to go to the diminished chord, my first finger is going to go up to the next fret. My ring finger is going to come up and make the minor chord. Okay? So keep that in mind. You can start that anywhere as long as you keep that same relationship between those 3 chords. Okay? So I'm going to go back to the 1st fret now and finish it up. So we have the F, bass note up 1 fret, bass note up 1 fret. Now to finish that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to 1st position and play the C7 chord, which is starting on the A string 3, 2, 3, 1. Okay, I'll do that again. From the F sharp diminished, G minor, and then once again notice the relationship that's happening. Notice the frets. So I'm going from my ring finger is going from the 5th fret, it's going down 2 and going up to the A string. I'll do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm not going to send a tab on this unless you really need it, because I want you to actually focus in on the left and right hands and not on a piece of paper. If you really need a tab on it, let me know, or perhaps you can even write one out yourself based on what I've said. But I'd rather you didn't practice this with a tab. I'd rather this was looked at much more, not as a song, but just as a technical exercise for the right and the left hand. Okay? So once again, now I can start that anywhere I want. If I start it here, up to 1 fret, up to 1 fret. Right, now to finish it, my ring finger goes back to and up to the A string, and I play the D7 chord. So, things to keep in mind when you're changing the chords. Okay, now think about, in this case, where does that first finger have to go? That first finger has to go here, right? It has to go here. So the first finger is over here right now. So I have to bring that first finger up and over to get that chord. To get the 3rd chord, my ring finger just has to come straight up. And to get the final chord, my ring finger goes straight up but down 2 frets. Other things to keep in mind as you're changing chords: lift and move everything. We've been talking about that a lot. And then when you go back to the final chord, lift and drop back down. Okay, so make sure that you're seeing those relationships. If you're not seeing the relationships, just the physical, visual relationship, that's what we're talking about primarily here. We aren't overly concerned about what the notes are because we're looking at this primarily as a left and right hand exercise. And a reminder, as you're practicing this, to get the most mileage, practice with a variety of right hand techniques. Separate downstrokes, alternate, down, up, drag the pick, 1, 2, 3, 4, or all rest strokes that would be, or all up strokes, 1, 2, 3, 4. Very good for the right hand. This mindless kind of practice is a good thing to do sometimes. You kind of incorporate it into your practice just to get your technique worked up. You know, breathe deep and just relax and just try to play it at a pace where you can not have a gap between the chords. Practice starting in anywhere. I'm starting here now. My ring finger's on the 8th fret, sorry. But I know the relationship. I know my first finger's going to go up 1. My ring finger's going to come straight up. And then my ring finger's going to come straight up but go down 2. Okay, so get that well in mind and practice slow enough where you can just use that as an exercise all across the fretboard. Okay, incorporating that diminished chord each time. We'll leave it at that, and if you have any questions or need further clarification or a tab, let me know.